Arsenal ended the league season in a lackluster performance, a performance that left a lot of supporters whining and getting angry that again, another third year gone, they did not lay their hands on the English Premier League. And when we thought that our efforts in Europe was going to give us something to celebrate, somehow we capitulated against PSG, both in the first leg and in the second leg. Don't forget this, the Arsenal fans being brought to you by Arsenal fans globally. I have with me in the studio Huspee. Huspee, it's good to meet you again.
Thank you very much. It's good to be here again. Thank you, Kennedy. Thank you to all listeners and viewers out there. You're listening before viewing. Viewing before listening.
Anyone now.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you back in the studio.
Thank you.
We've been looking at how Arsenal performed this season. It was a season that began in a roller coaster manner, and every Gunner just believed that somehow we're going to nick it this season, especially when Man City wasn't firing all cylinders as expected. And somehow, right at the scruff of the neck, Liverpool came and took away the title from us. This time around, we were far behind, close to 15 points,
Yep.
And so that was a really damaging season for us. Now, the $1 million question is, in the lips of every Gunner, is that they said Arteta is the cause why Arsenal capitulated. Some other fans, like me, also believe that the Cronkies were responsible for our capitulation. And I also believe that the players were also responsible. They share in part of the responsibility. Because it is one thing for a coach to bring out his tactical know-how in a game and give it to the players. It's just for them to go onto the pitch and know how to implement it. Now, the $1 million question is, did we get scoring chances in all the matches that we lost? Yes, but somehow we flopped our line. So the question now is to you, who is to blame for Arsenal capitulation this season?
Thank you, Kennedy. I think it is a collection of many reasons or many factors. Some it's in the public view, some it's behind the scenes.
Right.
But I'll start from upstairs. I think the board did not give Arteta the kind of support he needed in the transfer window. You can see that he was basically crying out for help during the January transfer window whenever he had press conferences. Nobody came to his aid. For whatever reason, they relied on the ever-present Kai Havertz, who had a very good, excellent, very superb injury-free record.
I'm sure a lot of Arsenal fans
Exactly.
are going to call for your head,
Please,
because
my head is already on the platter.
I know, right?
Don't come for it again. Yeah. So most of them were, or I think the boardroom was written that let's figure out how Arteta can navigate the rest of the season with his current crop of players.
Yes.
And probably at the end of the season we'll see how best we can support him. Which was a very bad decision. It turned out to be catastrophic. We lost Jesus, we lost Martinelli during that time, we lost Saka, we ended up losing Havertz as well. I just hope it's a learning curve for all of us, but I also think that it's 1 year less on the player's age capacity in terms of how old am I, how young am I getting, how old am I getting, how close am I to success. And we lost that one. And coming to the back room, I also think, I don't know if the training regime has been shifted behind the scenes. We had lots of injuries
as compared to the previous seasons.
And what worried me was the recurrence of some of these injuries when players came back. They had like niggling injuries here and there.
Especially when it has to do with hamstring.
Exactly. So I think the treatment table was something that could have held us back, again, in my opinion. And another factor for me has been the players in terms of mentality. We've seen cases where players are in front of open goal, they sky the ball. That is not Arteta telling them to kick the ball out. But again, The last person to blame in here, I would say, is Arteta for a few things. He's putting up with a lot of things at the back end that we don't see, and now everybody's seeing him as the problem. Yeah, he's not the problem. He's just putting up a face, like shielding the owners and all of those things. Those are the antics of Wenger, which led many to dislove or unlove or hate Wenger at some point, because they thought Wenger had the money, Wenger crabby it, he doesn't want to spend, he's stingy. It wasn't about Wenger. In fact, at the tail end of his tenure with Arsenal, he was practically forced to be selling players to make up for money so that we could pay out the recycling loan. Exactly. So many people didn't know that. It was Wenger in the frame. It was him bearing the grunt. And Arteta is doing that again. And I used to tell guys in our group that the Kroenkes are very strategic. When they wanted to recruit a manager, Luis Enrique was the first. And when Enrique came, what happened?
Give them his war chest.
And they said, no, we don't have that money. And he said, no, I cannot do for less. He left. All right, so what happened after? We hired Emery. Emery came. He started well, but he went under par. He was released. It was a very strategic decision they took at that time to hire a relatively unknown Arteta, who had no managerial experience, like he's the boss.
But has love for the club.
But had love for the club. So they thought like finding somebody who is emotionally connected to the club could be that shield that they needed. Because if you remember, at some point, some protests were happening around the Emirates. Kroenke should go. So they brought in Arteta, and Arteta came. Kudos to him. He has changed the culture within the institution from top to bottom. But we have also achieved strides on the pitch.
Okay, let me hold you there.
Yes.
From your analogy so far, would you say that the Kroenkes, they were ambitious or unambitious? Because that is the key thing. That is what I always say. I say, if you are ambitious and you employ somebody to do a job for you, and the person is not giving you a clearer picture of the goal you want to achieve, what do? You are the one that plays the piper, and you need to dictate the tune. So at that point, what you need to do is either kick the person out, or you give the person an ultimatum. So, but what we've seen so far is that the Kroenkes aren't doing that. So it means that they are comfortable that Arsenal is in the title mix. We're challenging, but they're not willing to spend beyond what they think is the caveat that they have. So do you think that shows ambition on the side of the Kroenkes and the club as well?
Todd Boehly at Chelsea could answer that question. Just mentioning that name, it shows a contrast in belief.
True.
Todd Boehly, we are laughing, Chelsea, that they were spending like rich kids. They were spending cash that they don't need. We saw them overspending, like signing players that they never needed. We were jealous. We wish we had a luxury at Arsenal. The owners, for me, are not that ambitious about Arsenal. For them, it's all about the figures. But for us, the fans, it's the
Trophies, right?
And also the players, it's about the trophies. Even though, yeah, they are applying their trade, they get paid for what they are doing. But the trophies, what shows the successes they've had in the past.
Okay, I want to put you on the spot. Yeah. So with that now, what do you think that the fans need to do in order to solve this challenge? Because this is something that is happening. We all knew that in the last 3 seasons that Arsenal needed a world-class striker. We knew, even the blind man on the streets, even the layman that doesn't know football, after watching Arsenal, we say, oh, what this team just needs is just one striker. The January transfer market comes. We are the only team across the globe that hardly find out that player that will come and better us. Because it's just like you mentioned, Arteta has bought into the philosophy of Wenger. Oh, we are in the market, we're looking out for the players that are going to improve us and better what we are doing. We never find such player.
Yeah.
While other clubs are signing. So the question now is, how do we solve it as fans? Because we can't keep on grappling with this idea of, oh, we almost got there, we are in second position. And look at the way the season turned out.
I feel, in my opinion, there is little less we can do, but to just keep believing and keep a keen eye on this transfer market. If things are not going our way, probably it's time for fans to get a little bit vocal. Little protests here and there, not violent ones, please. I want to be on record. Protests around the Emirates, within the Emirates, could pile a little bit of pressure on the Kroenkes one way or the other. But for now, just say, let's keep believing.
Okay, I like the word. The word is keep believing, and that's why we always say that when you love Arsenal, you can't unlove Arsenal. Arsenal is a club full of passion and emotion. Now, what we're crying out for as fans is that the Kroenkes need to do what they are expected to do, just the way their contemporaries in the league are doing the same. We're all aware that Man City, in as much as they didn't do well in the just concluded season, they spent close to £250 million, and yet they did not do well as compared to Arsenal. We don't know if that is the trajectory that Arsenal owners are utilizing to hold back to the fund that they are supposed to be spending. Now, let's come back to this idea. Do you think that Arteta played a key role in affecting the way we performed this season? Some people believe that he wasn't ruthless enough to drop certain key players in the team during matches when they are not performing at the optimal level. Talking about players like Odegaard, talking about Martinelli. I'm one of those that believe that he was not ruthless enough. So I want to know your take in this aspect. Because yeah.
All right. So first off, I would say at last season, after the January break when we went to Dubai, we had a transformational season. We are in scintillating form until a few games to the end when we dropped off the radar. Looking at the tactics back then to the one we used this season, we're a little bit pragmatic. We're more of passing and not penetrating. We hardly had through balls. We hardly had balls being sent over the defense of players to chase down the
even when we didn't have a striker to knock them in.
Exactly. So I think his tactics was a little bit off this season, and for me, I also believe that he was not that ruthless, and it is that one character he needs to groom. Great managers are ruthless. They look for performance and not name. They look for performance and not your status on the team. If you are the captain, you should play like and as the captain. It's possible. We are humans. We have our flaws. People lose their
momentum,
form.
right?
Yes, their momentum, their form. It's not about probably hitting their confidence, like saying, making some disparaging statement that could derail the person's confidence. But at times it's just good to take the person from the firing line and give somebody else a chance. Yeah. And also I feel like we had a very thin squad. So I'm just going through some statistics here. I see that this season that just concluded, we played 58 competitive matches, which is the second highest ever. The highest we've ever played was in 2017-2018 campaign when we played 60 matches. And with that thin squad we had, it's very difficult to see how best they can progress from there, how fatigue cannot take a hold on them. And if you look at the results, the Premier League we played 38 times. We won 20 times. We drew 14 times. We lost 4 times. We scored 69. We considered 34. The goal difference is 35. I think this is a step down from what we achieved the season before. Yeah. And in Champions League, we played 14 games or matches. We won 9. We drew 2. We lost 3. We scored 31 goals. We conceded 10. The goal difference is 21. This is a step up from the previous season because we stopped at the quarterfinal stages.
Yeah.
But also the home and away record, we noticed that we played 30 home, we played 28 games away. We won 18 at home, we won 14 away. We drew 8 at home and 9 away. So I really feel this is one area where we lost the game. I was reading another analysis when somebody said we out of the probably we drew like almost 12-14 games, like 80% of those matches we were in the lead, but we ended up dropping points. We lost 4 at home, we lost 5 away, we scored 58 at home, we scored 54 away, we conceded 26 away, we conceded 26 again at home.
Now that brings us to a point. We also had an issue, a challenge with officiating.
Yeah.
That it's on record that we had 12 matches where we were in winning position and officiating cost us the game.
Yeah, sure.
So now the question is, does that have to do, because we already know how challenging the English Premier League can be, especially when it comes to officiating. The Premier League is questionable when it comes to officiating.
Of course.
So how does that correlate with the mentality of our players? Because you already know. It's just like you're going into a class. You go to this class every day. You know what your teacher is going to expect of you. You know what he's going to do. So does it have to do with our mentality? Because it appears as if we're not properly prepared for this season's league that just ended. Because I thought with the antics that Arteta played on the players, where he brought pickpockets on the dining table, and those pickpockets took their phones, some of them took their wristwatches without them knowing, that was an awareness thing for them to be psyched up, knowing that, look, we're going to a battle. This is what we're expecting. Sometimes we don't even expect certain things that will happen. Mm-hmm. That we need to keep our mentality, or rather our mental ability in check. Mm-hmm. So do you think these players, they derailed when it comes to mentality? Because there are places where our players are not supposed to earn a red card. Like, let us take, for example, the match against Real Madrid. Somebody has been giving you the card.
Walk away.
Just walk away.
Be in position for a restart.
And you just went in and annoyed the player. And just the fact that you didn't play that match against PSG affected the entire team. Yeah. So now, do you think our players were ill-prepared mentally?
I think they were fragile mentally, in my opinion, at some point in the season. And I also think that we lacked some amount of steel, physique, and leadership in the team. Odegaard was not the same, and it affected those around him. Once in a while, we rise up to the occasion. But I think, in my opinion, the real leader we had in the team this season was Gabriel at the back. Gabriel was strong. Gabriel was the rock. And you saw him really marshalling games, working on the defense. And so the mentality of the team was a little bit fragile. And our tactics were so predictable that if teams set up, we simply don't have a plan B. Because we just keep passing. And
so does that have to do with the coach, or the fact that we didn't have the proper bench?
When Roy Keane was at Man United, I remember him giving an interview some time back that there are times on the pitch when the tactics is not working, they talk to themselves, even without the coach giving instruction. Let's switch.
So lack of leadership.
Exactly.
That's it. Lack of leadership on the pitch.
We lack leadership on the pitch. And at times the coach can agree also. When they tweak and it's working, he will give a nod. Yes, let's keep going. And I also feel like our players lacked discipline this season. It's one of the most recorded seasons we've encountered in recent seasons. And it had a lot to do with ill discipline. Some of them could be questionable ones from decisions of match officials. But in my opinion, I think we could have done a whole lot better, considering the Trossard red card at City. You know, few weeks before
Declan
that,
Rice's red card
Rice
too.
was red carded for just standing in the way when he was actually walking away. And the explanation the PGMO gave what that he was delaying the restart. And the new rules they had in England this in the EPL this season, which was communicated to all players and all clubs, after the whistle has gone for an infringement, if it is against you, you have no right to touch the ball anymore. He knew that.
But that one is questionable because we saw a lot of teams, a lot of players. We saw Doku did that against Arsenal.
I'll prefer to concentrate on what
Yes,
we did
I
as
agree
a
with
team,
you.
because
I agree.
if you want to put this on a scale,
Scale, yeah.
Arsenal will be outweighed in no time.
True.
So for me, and you also said this at the beginning, that the players should know that most of the officiating decision goes against Arsenal. So they should have this in their mind that let's play to the whistle. Let's just play to our best and see what happens. So I feel like the injuries had their own toll. The predictability, our lineup was predictable, our tactics was predictable,
Right.
and also the red cards. And I also feel like we lacked leadership in the middle of the pack.
Now, before we go into what the panacea could be, because we look at what the challenges are, and we're going to be looking at what the panacea could be. Now, we recall that on the last day Arsenal played in front of the fans at the Emirates, Arteta made mention of saying that the people at the hierarchy knows what to do, meaning he was giving an alarm saying, look, I need a striker. Now, in the time past, we had this issue of Isaac, Benjamin Sesko, Viktor Gyokeres, and Victor Osimhen. So Victor Osimhen and Isaac, they're out of the way. Now we started dilly-dallying, and Roberta came in and said, look, I need Victor Gyokeres. Arteta said, I need Benjamin Sesko because of the age difference. Victor Gyokeres is 26 years old, and Sesko is 21 years old. But we're talking about a coach that wants to win a trophy. This is a player that is firing all cylinders. If he's going to give you 4 years of his career and you win trophies within those 4 years, why do you want to grapple with a young Benjamin Sesko that is playing in 6 and 7? You look at his numbers, 13 goals this season. And we're talking about a player that has notched him 46 in the previous season and 52 in this other season. So the question now is, why are the board not making a decision to go out there and say, look, we want to win the Premier League. We've been on the periphery of this title chase. We need to win it this season. Okay, we're giving you Victor Gyokeres and Benjamin Sesko. Now, from Grapevine, in the news, we heard Chelsea are in the mix. We're talking about 65 million euro. Now, Chelsea are willing to pay close to 70 million pounds for Victor Gyokeres. If you are Sporting Lisbon, what would you do? The highest bidder, isn't it? And if Victor Gyokeres is going to earn better salary, do you think you want to dilly-dally with Arsenal? The thing we were boasting with before is the Champions League. Chelsea are champions of Europe. In the Europa League, they won it. Conference League, I beg your pardon. And now, they're in the Champions League. So this brings us back to the table of the unseriousness of the Kroenkes. Because we've been talking about this issue. Victor Gyokeres was looking at it, okay, if United qualifies for Champions League, okay, I think what I will do, I'll go to United because Ruben Amorim is there. Now, United are completely out of anything in Europe. In fact, they're in the domestic league. Just want to rub it on United people. You guys are in the domestic league. But come to think of it, why are we unserious in notching this guy's signature? Please. Because they need to hear from you. Our fans need to hear this. Because most of us are saying, oh, it's Arteta. Now, the opportunity has come for us to get a striker. Why aren't we doing what is expected of us?
All right. Thank you very much. Let me speak to the fans. Arsenal fans out there. I understand your frustration. I understand your dissatisfaction with the snail pace enthusiasm we have in the transfer market. And I know most of you are leaving the blame on our head coach, Arteta. But I want you to know that he cannot bear this grunt alone. As I sit here, the only blame I have for Arteta is for him not stepping down because of the lack of support he's getting from the board. That's the sole blame I have for him. Because as it is, you are now right to be throwing trash at Arteta. He's in the limelight. He's the coach. He makes his decisions. But he's not the one in charge of the purse strings. He's not the one writing the check. In fact, he had a lot of disagreement to the previous
Sporting director.
sporting director Edu. I'm telling that most of the players on our payroll were not Arteta's choice. They had a lot of disagreement. So what I want you to do is let's back this manager. He's a young manager. He's learning his trade. He has a lot of potentials. Let's put up and resist the attitude and character of the Kroenkes. They are the one destroying our club. One way or the other, we should stand up. For me, we have seen many players snatched right on our noses because we have moved so late. Modric is one. And there are many more that we missed out on. We missed out on Cavachilia.
And we missed out on even Kuna recently.
And went for Marquinhos. Who knows where he is in this world? So at times, some of these decisions our owners take up there affect us here as fans. But we only see Arteta because it's the one we see in our frame, in our television.
And we have this mentality that they gave him money, he doesn't want to spend it.
So please, you can join me to pray. Probably this season we'll declare a day of prayer and fasting for the Arsenal team, for our decision makers, for them to have sound mind, for them to be very good in their judgment, so that we can arrive at decisions that can benefit everyone. But hey, no matter who we sign, we are still not gonna be the best, because I can tell you, you have few teams in the Premier League that have better squad than Arsenal. So we are still going to give our best. But for now, let's trust God that the Kroenkes become a little bit jittery, become a little bit conscious that there is something they need to achieve as a club. Probably they're a little bit distracted with the successes they're having with their other franchises across the globe. But if this was their only egg that they've placed in this sole basket, they will know how to treat it. We love our team. We don't have another team we are supporting.
True.
We are trusting that they have the same kind of love and feeling. They don't only get to run the club as a business, but they get to run it as something they love dearly from the bottom of their hearts.
Thank you very much. Now we're coming to that point. We've heard it. The Kroenkes need to do more. They've come to they come with a deceptive spending. Spend small money and give us the impression that they are willing to spend. And that's why fans are saying, Arteta has spent more money than as a winger. But I always say, the market then and the market now is not compelled by Arteta. It's two different markets. So now we're going to the point where we've seen all the challenge, what affected our season. So going forward, the next season that's going to be starting sometime in August, what do you think would be the laymaker for us to say this is how we're going to resolve and put those things in perspective and correct them going forward?
Let's make statement signings. That's all we need at the moment. Statement signing 1, statement signing 2, statement signing 3. And of course, we still have some dead woods in the squad that have outlived their stay. Jesus is a very good striker. He's tactful, but at the end of the day, he's prone to injuries. And we need to rely on our players to have a long run in the team, because at the end of the day, when they get kicked out of the squad because of injuries and whatsoever, it affects the rhythm of the play. And I'm trusting that this season will be a little bit different. Also, if Mother Luck will smile on us, We are hoping that we'll have a limited number of injuries, especially impact injuries. It took a lot out of us. We also need to kind of invest, apart from the statement signings you're talking
Right.
about, we need to sign quality players who will be squad players to capably step in the shoes of the starters, just in case they're not there, they're not fit, they're running out of endurance, out of ideas on the pitch, you can simply replace them. But if we don't have suitable replacements on the bench, it's just another outcry, and I think the season will be a very, very, very long one.
You've heard it. What we need is a statement signing. And the other point has to do with injuries. It means that our medical team need to stand up, they need to up their game and live up to expectation. They're talking about clearing deadwoods in the club. The idea, I want to ask you what your view is with regards to giving Isambi Lukonga an additional 1-year contract rather than letting him go. He was a young man that came into the club, or rather, he's a young man that came into join the club with a lot of talent, ebullient play, display, and all that. But somehow he fizzled out, and it hasn't worked for him in Arsenal. So what I'm looking at what gave the board the idea to give him an additional 1-year contract.
Probably they want to increase his resale value, in my opinion. I'm not sure he has a spot on the team, not even on the substitute bench. He might be loaned out with an option to sell if teams are interested, but I'm not sure Lukunga will have a spot on the team. I'm a little bit worried also about Fabio Vieira. If we make very good and exceptional signings, it's possible that we might not even think about, him being on our substitute bench, as he wanted to have more game time, which we could not afford at that time. And I also don't feel like his loan stint was excellent. He did not have the kind of performance
Because he had injuries too.
Exactly. So, but with Tambi, I'm just thinking it's a marketing strategy, so that we can squeeze as much quid we can from his movement if he is ever to move from Arsenal.
Okay, talking about letting go some deadwoods, who are the players that you would want to point out that Arsenal should let go?
I need to. All right. So first of all, like I was saying, Zinchenko is one player that needs to go. Miles Luis Kelly should also go.
That one they're going to call for the neck. I disagree with you.
That's a
you
slip of
see me,
tongue.
I have to bust that.
Don't try it. So
that's our golden pearl,
Don't try it. So I think Zinchenko should go. Kieran Tierney should also go.
Yeah.
Neto, Neto was not useful.
He just occupied space on the bench.
And we have a very versatile player, but he's injury prone. I think he has outlived his stay. Tomiyasu is someone who should also go, and probably he will play better elsewhere. Probably the environment will suit him elsewhere, just as Smith Rowe is doing at Fulham now. Smith Rowe used to play 1 match, 2 matches for us.
This season he played completely.
Exactly, so Tomiyasu should be given the nod.
Jorginho is leaving already.
And Jorginho, of course, should go. And I'm thinking about whether we actually need to keep Reece Nelson or not. But in my mind, I feel like if we have an outstanding support for Saka,
the one we can play for that position.
Yes, I feel like Reece Nelson can also go.
What about Martinelli?
Martinelli,
I believe, I'm sorry,
is dividing fans' opinion.
For me, Martinelli is resale value is up now. So and I feel we should cash on it and sell him. Okay. He's a young player that came up with a lot of talent. And we're looking up that he should have been one of those cognitive players that would have taken us to the next level, but that young man doesn't want to improve.
So who do you think should replace him?
If you ask me, I will go for Garnacho. Garnacho from United, what that young man needs is love. What that young man needs is love. Is more daring, can come into your box. Unlike Martinelli that is forcing to dribble his opponents without knowing when to pass the ball, when to cross the ball. But Garnacho, his problem is finishing. So all you just need to do is to put him on a training scale of finishing. But he's a good player.
Mm.
And now
what about Semenyo?
Semenyo, yes, Semenyo would be more of Semenyo want to sit on the bench for Saka? No. Except they can play him on the left, which I've not seen him play on the left.
I have seen him playing from the left.
Because if you bring in Semenyo, it means that the playing time of Nwaneri will be limited. Even now, his playing time is limited because I don't know if Arteta want to play him as a deputy midfielder to Odegaard, or you want to play him as a deputy flanker to what is it, Bukayo Saka.
To be frank, I don't see Arsenal cashing out on or cashing in on Martinelli during the summer.
It is what it is.
For me, between Martinelli and Trossard, I still will go for Trossard leaving. Wow. With Martinelli, we've seen the best of Martinelli in the past. We just feel like something is missing somewhere. We've seen what he has done in the past. It's not like this is the best we've seen of him this season, and the best it could be labeled as lackluster performances. We've seen that Martinelli, when he broke into the first team squad, he was a street football player type. He was doing all the chasing. He was aggressive, and he was a speedster. As soon as he's on the ball, forget about him. Probably we need the attacking coaches to identify what is really wrong.
He needs to unlock something. Either he is not doing it himself, because the problem he has is, see, I am watching with a lot of pain against PSG. Each time you want to go through Hakimi, you are forcing what will not happen. You are trying to dribble the man like you want to prove. What are you proving?
What about the boy from Athletic, Nico?
Nico Williams isn't going to come to Arsenal. His mind is bored for Barcelona. He's just waiting for Barcelona to make the move.
Do you think Barcelona have the cash to do that?
They don't, but the young man wouldn't want to leave. If Nico Williams comes, he will be a better replacement.
Garnacho is a lazy player for me. He's not a player fancy.
I'm looking at the young man because if you bring him to Arsenal, he's going to come there to prove a point.
Do you think he will do better than Rashford?
Rashford is an emotional player.
Okay.
His emotion sometimes, if he's not going to play well, you know the Arsenal fans, they can turn against you at any point in time. So I don't think, if I'm Rashford, what I would do, I would just move out of England. That's what he needs now. He doesn't need to prove anything again. He has done well, that he's a good player, going to Aston Villa. But I would prefer Garnacho. Garnacho is more daring. He's not scared to bring. See, the difference between Garnacho and Martinelli, even though they play in similar style, is that Martinelli is forcing to bring the ball and take it to the flank. Garnacho is bringing the ball into your box. The only thing is he has problem is when he's supposed to pass and he's shooting and he's finishing is poor. That's just that guy's problem. So if he gets a coach that puts arm across his shoulder and love him, he's the guy that can win you games. Unlike Martinelli, his speed, he doesn't know how to make use of his speed. He runs with the ball, he was going to force and he's going, okay, this is the flank. He has lost the ball, he will come back. The only exceptional thing about him.
Be careful about Martinelli. He has a lot of lovers on the
o-
platform.
I know, right?
Be careful.
The only thing I like about him is his ability to track back. Outside that, you can't take that away from him. He even does it better than Bukayo. Bukayo earlier days as a left full back and playing as a winger.
All right, let's do this. Don't you think it's high time for us to also destabilize our
formation by bringing
our direct challengers for the league? Let's say we dare bid for, let's say, Luis Diaz at Liverpool.
You know that guy will never leave Liverpool. Liverpool will not even answer. If you the opening bid, they will not look at you. So why dare what will not happen?
I read stories where he felt a little bit unstable this season because of the rotation policies that Ancelotti was doing at Liverpool. I feel like if we're very intentional, it's doable.
That has to do with the Kroenkes. How serious are they?
It's doable. So I wish these were not dreams. These are not just wishes.
Anyway, we've had a very good time here at the studio. It's been a really drilling day for us. We've talked about a lot of stuff, and the key thing still remains that we love this Arsenal. And we're expecting that the forthcoming season that we're going to do better than we did in the 2024-2025 season. And we also expect that our Arteta is going to be ruthless, because that was one of the things that we saw. He wasn't ruthless enough.
Yeah.
We saw him playing Martinelli as a striker against Liverpool, and he got a goal. And we're also looking at the situation where you can dare your captain, dare players, and say, I'm going to drop you in this game because you're not pulling your weight. Then the other one has to do with our players' mentality. We spoke about it. Their mental ability need to come up strong. And the other one has to do with the owners. We need to make statement signing. You heard it from Huspee. Statement signing that we only need to do 1, 2, 3. Statement signing that we need we juggle everybody and say, where did we keep this mentality, this idea? So that is what we want to see from Arsenal going forward. And this has been on this edition of Arsenal Fans Beat.
Before you close,
thank you.
Who is your player of the season?
Declan Rice. It has to be Declan Rice.
Declan?
Yeah, it's Declan. I would have given it to Miles Lewis Kelly because he came from nowhere and occupied that position, making it difficult.
In the second half of the
season.
If he had started this at the beginning of the season, he could have simply been.
So Declan Rice is the guy.
And your second?
My second, I'll give it to David Raya. Right. If not for David Raya, we would never have ended up in second position.
And your third?
My third has to be Lewis Kelly.
Lewis Kelly.
Yes.
I agree with the first two, but the third I'll go with Gabriel at the back.
Yes, how did I forget Gabriel Magalhaes? You're right.
Gabriel will even be my second, and Raya my third. Gabriel was outstanding.
Let me just put Lewis Kelly fourth. Gabriel. He's a player that I don't used to like because I don't like the way he used to delay, but he came like a bullion van,
Of course.
Came like a bullion van. So guys, this is an opportunity for you to make your comments count in the comment section. And don't forget that you need to like, you need to subscribe, you need to share our post. We're building a larger community together. And together, from Huspee, what last message do you have for the fans?
Please stay safe. Mpox is real. We know this is the rainy season. This season is over, but your life is not over. Take care of it. Mpox is real. And this is a message from Arsenal Radio.
Yes.
That take care of yourself. Take care of the health initiatives. Don't touch, don't hug. Wash your hands regularly and sanitize your hands. Stay safe. We need your support this coming season. We love you.
Yes, we need your support this coming season, and safety is the key word. Until then, it is come on, you gonna!